Today I'm sharing with you 4 mistakes that new yoga teachers make before going into business for themselves as a yoga teacher. My name is Ashley and I've been a yoga teacher since 2012 and also training other yoga teachers and now training yoga teachers who want to get themselves out there online with a website, with teaching, with services, with all this stuff in an online business format. And I do that in my course, Virtual Vinyasa Academy. And our next 6-week coaching program starts August 1st. So if you're curious about that, it's at virtualvinyasa.academy.com. And I would love to see you there. So let's get to those 4 mistakes, 4 misconceptions or myths that new yoga teachers make before getting started in online business. And maybe just in business in general. Actually, there might be 5. And the first thing I want to mention is that you don't think of yourself as a business. That is a mistake number 1, is you think of yourself as just a yoga teacher, or you're not a business, it's just a hobby. If you don't think of yourself like a business and act like a business and treat it as such, separate bank account, possibly doing an LLC, doing your taxes, all of that stuff, it can be more challenging to actually find the success as a business if you don't think of yourself as one. Okay, so let's get on to the 4 actual myths and misconceptions that I have here, and I'll list them quick first, and then we'll go through them one by one. Number 1 is you don't think that you know enough to get started, or you don't know enough. You're not ready yet. Number 2, you give away everything for free. Number 3, you think that you need all of the equipment, whether that's the in-person equipment, the bolsters, the stuff, or all the tech, the fancy technology equipment before you get started. And number 4, you think that you need to have a really pretty, excellent, beautiful, perfect website, logo, name, all of that before you can even start. Right, so all of this to say, mostly, you've got to get started and do it gritty, not pretty. Functional, not fancy. So we're going to get started and work our way through the process in time. So it does not have to be perfect. Just like when you started your yoga practice, your down dog was probably pretty bad, but you did it anyway. You kept going. Also, same as you don't say something like, well, I need to lose 20 pounds before I start working out, or I need to gain flexibility before I start practicing yoga. That's not the point. The point is to get started and those results will come. So that feeling of I don't know enough to teach others, I don't know enough to be a teacher, I'm gonna say that is false. Everybody has something inside of them. Whether you've taken a yoga training or your own experiences, everybody has something that they can teach to others. You can share your story, what works for you. And the great thing is, and I just heard this in a podcast, and it's so true, you only have to be, and you should be, about 10% in front of someone in order to teach them. And my thought process is that you need to be maybe 1 or 2, possibly 3 steps, if you're saying steps, in front of someone to teach them something, to be the best kind of teacher for them. Whereas if you're step 3647 ahead of somebody and you have 20, 30, 40 years of experience on someone that's just getting started, so much has changed in that time, and that person that's super, super experienced is going to have a very difficult time helping this brand new beginner because the gap is so huge. There's a phrase called the curse of knowledge. When someone is so experienced in something, they have so much knowledge, they forget that those just getting started don't know some of the terminology, they don't know, like you skip over a bunch of steps. So if you're just a little bit in front of someone, let's say you just took yoga teacher training, then you are perfect person for teaching someone who's just getting started in their yoga practice, okay? Of course, I want to give you some tips and stuff for teaching beginners yoga because there's a different element to that. But besides that, I want to just assure you that you know more than enough. And it's a matter of sometimes just being confident, sharing your message, sharing what it is, what you want to get out there. And I do help with all the confidence tips and all of that inside of my course and my coaching program. So I talk about how to show up online and how to show up with confidence and ease and getting to know the ins and the outs of camera confidence and a whole lot more. Let's move to number 2, where you think or you give away everything for free, or you give too much for free. So there is a time and a place for free. One of my business mentors says it's the 3 C's that you can give away for free: to your church, to charities, and to children. And not all the time, but the once in a while. I love doing a free kids event once in a while down at certain events where they're like, hey, can you teach kids yoga today? I'll be like, great. It's for the children, or if it's for your church or something like that, if it's for charity, awesome, go ahead and give that away. If it's not for charity or for someone or a group of people who needs it, then I recommend doing free in a way that's not free, but you get something in return, at least something. For example, a lot of people give away a free guide or a free video in exchange for an email address. And that is a big tip. You should take this to heart. You need to be starting an email address, if not now, yesterday, or 10 years ago. Okay, then it would have to be now. So starting an email list, email address, of course. Did I say email address? Start an email list right now. So collecting people's contact information with permission, of course. And again, something I teach you inside of the course, inside of my coaching program. So if you're giving something away, you need to be getting something in return. When all of this COVID stuff started, the pandemic, a lot of us decided to give away, just do classes for free because it was temporary, right? It was supposed to be temporary. But right now, it is the normal. And the normal cannot, and I've seen all these teachers who gave away free classes, they are burnt out. They are not wanting to continue in this way, and they can't. So they've stopped, or they've had to pivot to something else. So doing free for a little while is awesome, but it's really hard to go back and then say, okay, now I'm charging. And you might feel guilt over that, but I want to be here for you to encourage you and to support you in every decision that you make, in any decision you make. And when it comes to charging, I'm not going to tell you what prices to charge. Your class could be a $5 class, it could be a $50 class, it could be $500, and it could be the same class. It's all about perceived value. Perceived value is what you want to charge, what you think that you're worth, and what people, your audience, is willing to pay. So you can charge whatever the heck you want, but you just shouldn't do it for free. Okay, number 3, you think that you need all the fancy equipment before you get started. If we're talking about online yoga and you want to get started online, all you need is your cell phone. Cell phone, maybe if you have a laptop, you could use a laptop. If you have a computer, if you have an iPad, you just need what you have to get started. If you're watching this video, you have some sort of device, something that you're watching this on. That's all you need. It likely has a camera and a microphone inside of it, and that's how you get started. I have seen too often where teachers will get all of the equipment that they need, like everything, the fanciest high-end, and getting started is still very challenging. Because it's not about having fancy equipment or thinking that you need everything. It's about your personal confidence. It's about you putting yourself out there. And if you have not fumbled and messed up a bunch of times, just because you have the perfect equipment doesn't mean that you're going to show up perfectly. I mean, yes, if you've got the equipment already, use it. But there are some tips that I will share with you that you can use to help you get a little bit better of a view or a sound quality rather than having to buy all the external stuff. And I had a bunch from a couple years ago, my webcams from a couple years ago. I bought this microphone. That was the only piece of equipment I bought back in February. And it's something I knew I wanted. I've got some recommendations if you are looking to invest a little bit in all of this. But again, what you need is what you've got. And the point is that the students on the other side that you are serving are not there to look at your perfect face or to look at your perfect background or your perfect setup. Yes, it could be visually appealing, but they need your message more. They need your content. So I would say crappy content, not crappy content, good content in a crappy context, if your lighting is bad, if your audio is bad, is still better than nothing at all. It's way better than nothing at all. If you can show up and just say, hey, it's me, and I want to tell you something. I've got to tell you a story. This is what happened today, and maybe this will help you. Here are 3 tips for such and such. And I do have that 4-part video challenge in my Facebook group, Yoga Sequencing and Teaching Tips. It's also on YouTube. It's a 4-video series where you will create a video each day. It's a way to get started and just jumpstart. It's like, just do the video, don't edit it. A couple tips for you is make sure the light is shining on you, not in the background, so no windows in the back. And make sure that you're looking at the camera, you give a smile every so often, and you talk with confidence. Simple. Except it doesn't have to be perfect. If you look at this video now, there are shadows all over me because I'm in front of my windows at the yoga studio where cars are driving by constantly. But I'm still gonna show up and I'm still gonna make this video for you. And I think that even though it's not perfect and the lighting is a little bit off, you'll still find value in this. You gotta hit a like button if you agree with that. You'll still find some value in this, even though I've got shadows across my face. My hair is a mess. But I'm also not looking at myself and going, oh, I've got a pimple here, so just ignore that. No, like I'm showing up and I'm here for you. You're gonna look at me and go, all right, what's the content? What are you gonna tell me today? And I'll give it to you. Okay, so you do not need all the fancy equipment. You've just gotta get started with what you have. It will psych you out if you think you need all the big stuff, okay? Even yoga mats. When you get started as a brand new yoga practitioner, you don't need a fancy yoga mat. You don't even need a yoga mat. You can practice on the floor. You can practice on your carpet. It can be just whatever you have. You can use what you have. And the 4th mistake that people think, that new yoga teachers think when you start an online business that I've seen, is that you think you need to have a website or you need to have a perfect website. So the thing about websites is this. Websites are your house or let's say your storefront to links to all of the external stuff. So your website could be a simple 1-page thing that has little buttons that say, go to my schedule, which is a third-party tool, which again, I give you some recommendations, and I think I have an email if you get my emails, my email list. So your schedule will go to this third-party website. And then it's like, check out my online courses. That would go somewhere else. Yes, you can have a lot of these inside of your website, like if you want to do back-end code type stuff and make it, I don't know, if you really want to get into that. But you don't need to. There's so much out there that you can say, here's a great scheduling page. I'm going to use this website for my schedule. And you link people directly to it. And having your storefront is just where you go to say, hey, check this out. This is what I have to offer. And your website can be very simple. And I teach you inside of my course, Virtual Vinyasa Academy, how to make a very simple WordPress website. There are templates, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to code anything. There are templates you can use, just like copy and paste. You build right on the page itself, and it makes it very easy. And there are also other platforms out there. I use WordPress, but a lot of people like Wix or Squarespace, and that's great. If that works for you, go for it. I love WordPress because it's one of the more popular business type of platforms out there, softwares to use for building a website. It's maybe a tiny bit higher learning curve, but the way that I teach it hopefully is very understandable, very easy, something you can get up within a couple days as long as you've got the content. And your website needs to be a place where people just get started or find your schedule. So it can be very simple. Get started button. That's a mistake people have about websites, which I can get to in a different video, is that you have too much content on there. You think you need all the options because then you have all the people doing all of the things. But then you get into what's called decision paralysis, where someone sees all of those things and they go, but what's step 1? Where do I actually start? Like, tell me what to do. And that's me to a T, is I just want someone to tell me the recommendation. I don't want to have to do all of the research in order to come to the conclusion of what I have to do. I want someone to say, here's where you start, or here's the doctor that you should go to, or here's who you should see, or this brand and this exact thing is the best thing. This hiking shoe is going to be the best for your needs. That's what I need. Say, if you fit this box, if you are this audience, this is what you need. And so you need to tell your audience what to do first, and that's your website. And that's what I help you create, is a getting started now place. So you don't need a website, but you do need something that says, here's how you get started with me. So anyway, those are the 4 mistakes and misconceptions and myths. Reviewing, thinking you don't know enough. Remember, you do. You do too much for free, or you give too much away. Please charge for your services. Number 3, you think you need all the fancy equipment before actually getting started. We said that's not true. And then you think you need a perfect and fancy website with all of the things. Also, again, not true. But I share with you a lot of this and more inside my course and in my coaching group, where we can work, well, one-on-one and in a group to get you started with your online yoga business. I can't wait to see the internet just flooded with yoga teachers and mindfulness coaches and meditation instructors sharing what it means to be stress-free and alive and feeling amazing, because we all need that a little bit more. And if you have something to share, you're doing a disservice if you're not sharing it with others, if you're not out there providing these amazing services. So I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for me to meet you and to work with you. So again, that is at virtualvinyasa.academy.com. Otherwise, just stay tuned on my channel, in my Facebook group, hit subscribe, hit like, hit join, follow, whatever, at Ashes Yoga and ashesyoga.com. And I'm sure we will chat again very soon.